My sister laughed when she handed me the ticket. Not a polite laugh, the kind that lingers a second too long. We were standing inside the airport lounge, surrounded by polished floors, quiet conversations, and the soft clink of glasses. Our entire family had gathered for this trip. My parents, my cousins, my sister Nadia, and me. Nadia held a small stack of boarding passes like a queen distributing favors. "First class for Mom and Dad," she said, smiling brightly. 2 white tickets slid across the table. "Business class for me and Farhan." Another pair. Everyone nodded with approval. Nadia always loved control. Loved making scenes where she looked generous. Then she reached the last ticket. She glanced at me. Her smile changed. Slow, sharp. "Here you go," she said. She dropped it into my hand like it weighed nothing. "Economy. Seat 34E, a middle seat." She laughed.
"Someone has to sit with the normal people."
A few cousins chuckled nervously. My mother avoided my eyes. I didn't react. I simply folded the ticket and slipped it into my pocket. Nadia leaned back in her chair, satisfied. She'd won the moment. What she didn't understand was that the moment had never been hers. Nadia and I weren't always like this. When we were kids, she used to hold my hand when we crossed the street. She taught me how to ride a bike, helped me cheat on my math homework, told people I was the smartest girl she knew. Back then, she protected me. But somewhere along the way, protection turned into competition. Then competition turned into resentment. Nadia liked being the center of the story. I preferred staying quiet. That difference made her nervous. 3 years ago, my life shifted in a way Nadia never expected. I joined the military. Not for glory, not for attention. For discipline. For purpose. The work was difficult. Long deployments. Cold mornings. Hard decisions. But I thrived there. Promotions came quickly. Responsibilities followed. I didn't talk about it much at home. My family preferred simpler stories. And Nadia? Well, she preferred stories where she was the most impressive person in the room. So I stayed quiet. Let her think she understood my life. Let her think she was still ahead. The boarding call echoed through the lounge. Our family walked together toward the gate. Nadia led the group like she owned the airport. At the aircraft door, the flight attendant scanned our passes. First-class passengers turned left. Nadia and the others disappeared behind the curtain. I walked right. Economy, row 34, middle seat, exactly where Nadia wanted me. The cabin buzzed with quiet conversations as passengers settled in. I slid into seat 34E and buckled my seatbelt. A man on my left nodded politely. A student on my right scrolled through her phone. Normal people, just like Nadia said. I closed my eyes for a moment. Patience had always been my strongest skill. The plane pushed back from the gate. Safety demonstrations began. Engines hummed to life. Everything normal. Until the cockpit door opened. The captain stepped into the aisle. Passengers rarely notice pilots walking through the cabin. But this one was different. Tall, precise, confident. He stopped beside my row. Row 34. He looked directly at me. Then he stood straight. His voice carried clearly across the cabin. "General?" The words sliced through the noise. "Ma'am?" The entire row froze. The student beside me stopped scrolling. The man on my left turned slowly. Across the aisle, heads began turning. The captain gave a respectful nod. "Command asked me to personally welcome you aboard." The silence spread like a ripple through the plane. Passengers leaned into the aisle. People whispered. "General," the captain gestured toward the front. "We've prepared a more appropriate seat for you." A flight attendant appeared instantly. She smiled warmly. "Right this way, ma'am." Walking through the cabin felt longer than the flight itself. Rows of passengers watched. Some confused. Some impressed. Some curious. But one reaction mattered more than the rest. First class came into view. The curtain parted. And there she was, Nadia, mid-laugh. Glass of champagne in her hand. Her expression collapsed the moment she saw me walking beside the captain. The flight attendant stopped at the first row. A wide leather seat waited. Nadia stared. "Wait," she said. "What's going on?" The captain answered calmly. "Protocol, ma'am." He gestured politely. "This officer outranks half the command structure on this aircraft." The words landed like thunder. Nadia blinked. My parents looked between us, stunned. The cabin behind me watched everything unfold. I sat down slowly. The flight attendant placed a fresh drink beside me. Nadia leaned forward, whispering harshly, "You never told us." I met her eyes. For the first time in years, she looked uncertain. "You never asked," I said quietly. The rest of the flight was peaceful. No more laughter from Nadia. No more jokes. Just quiet. 30,000 feet above the ground, the balance between us finally shifted. And the best part? I never raised my voice. Never argued. Never explained. I simply let the truth walk down the aisle. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's a pilot standing beside your seat, calling you by the rank someone else tried to make you forget.